Today is part 4 of unexpected benefits of minimalism. Little things that make an impact on my life, changes that I've found as I've decluttered and moved closer to a more minimalist lifestyle. If you haven't seen the other videos, I'd encourage you to start there. I will link them in the description box below, or you can watch them after this one. But either way, I'll dive right in. So because this is a part 4 video, I'm actually on number 10 of benefits of minimalism. So a 10th unexpected benefit of minimalism is that I experience less secret shame. If you are someone who is like me before starting to declutter, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. When I had so much excess and I could never get my home straightened, and there was always just like piles of stuff everywhere, I always carried with me this little bit of shame about my home, about my space, but also a little bit about myself. Basically, I would feel like I was hiding a little part of myself from the rest of the world. Like I had kind of fooled them into maybe thinking I had it more together than I actually did. And this would come into play in all kinds of contexts. When hanging out with friends, even at work, I would try to project a version of myself that I thought was better than what I actually was. I secretly felt like I couldn't get it all together. And now I feel differently. Now, I'm not saying I now feel like I'm somebody who has it all together. I do not have it all together. In fact, there are some places in my home that I still feel self-conscious about, especially now that I have a YouTube channel about minimalism. Sometimes I feel, a little self-conscious of some areas of my home that don't look so minimalist because I'm not an extreme minimalist. I'm just so far better from where I used to be. But I don't feel like there's this secretive feeling of I'm not good enough. There's a part of me that's just inherently messy, as if there's a part of me that just can't get on top of it. And I think since I've decluttered and made it a little bit easier to get my home into a better place, I don't feel like I have to hide so much. Now, sometimes do I feel anxiety at work? Do I feel overwhelmed at times? I'm not saying it solves all my shame and that I never feel self-conscious or worried or that I don't have a feeling of wanting to improve, because I do. But it's just this icky, shameful feeling of hiding something that I just don't have to deal with anymore. And it is such a weight off of my shoulders. I have to say, I would love to hear if anybody else has experienced this, or even if right now you're experiencing that secret shame. I wish there were just more of a conversation about this, because I think a lot of people deal with this. I would imagine especially a lot of women, since in society there's a lot of social pressure on women to have their homes all neat and all put together. Does anyone else experience this? For those of you who have started a decluttering journey, has some of this lessened? I'm so curious if I'm the only one. I'm guessing I'm not. And first of all, I don't think this is a good way to think. I do think that even if your home is messy, it doesn't mean that you're a sloppy person or something and that you have something to hide. I think honestly, it's more of society's expectations around how much we have and the pushing of ads that causes this problem. So first of all, I don't think you should feel that shame, but I do think it's a thing that we experience. And I do think that decluttering a bit helps with that shame. An 11th unexpected little benefit of minimalism is that I feel less bad about outfit repeating. Now, I know that I shouldn't feel bad anyway. It's totally fine and even wonderful to outfit repeat. But I do think I've been socialized to think that outfit repeating is somehow shameful, or that people will judge it, which I really don't think is true, but somehow just implicitly, automatically, my brain thinks that. But somehow knowing that I am pursuing minimalism, knowing that that's a goal that I have, and that maybe even people close to me might be aware that that's something I'm working on, I feel like people are gonna judge me less for outfit repeating. And in fact, maybe they'll judge me more if I constantly am wearing a new, totally different outfit. Leaning into minimalism and kind of identifying as a minimalist allows me to feel more okay with wearing the same thing over and over again. Not that I'm going around talking about minimalism all the time. In fact, in real life, I rarely, if ever, discuss it, almost because I discuss it so much here on YouTube. But somehow it's just implicitly what I'm trying to bring to the table, and that makes me feel more okay just wearing the same thing over and over again. A 12th benefit is that I can now put most things away. I know this one sounds pretty basic, pretty menial, shouldn't everyone be able to put most things away? But again, if you are someone like me who had the excess that I had, where I would just like keep things from years and years ago, from my childhood, whenever, often I didn't actually have a home for everything. I would have piles of stuff in certain places, and that was their home. Now, I don't want to make anyone feel bad. If this is you, I get it. I have been there. And I will say sometimes I still get clutter on my surfaces, let's be honest. But by decluttering more, I have more space in the cupboards, in the not visually apparent storage spots in my home. And it's easier to put those things away, so I'm more likely to put them away. It's not as much of a hassle if things are not like falling off the cupboards or out of the closet when I open them. And I can do that without a huge amount of effort. It doesn't take me several days to get my house to that place. It takes me just a little while. So I know this is basic, but it is such a big life change to go from somebody who can never actually put everything away to now being somebody who, I'm not always tidy. I'm not always spick and span, but I know that I can be. And that is such a good feeling. I hope this conversation is helpful to you if you are someone who's truly overwhelmed with your stuff. And I feel like I might even get some judgment from people who are maybe more minimalist than I am, but I really want to normalize the fact that I think that most Americans genuinely have a stuff problem. Advertisements and selling things through social media has become even more intense. And with technology, it just gets easier and easier to accumulate. And so I think this is a real thing people are dealing with. According to the LA Times, the average American has over 300,000 belongings. So that tells you right there, Americans at least have a lot of stuff. It can be overwhelming, and people are hiding that part of themselves and trying to avoid it. And listen, I get it. I have been there. And even now there are times where I go through periods where I'm kind of avoiding it and I'm not perfect about it. But I do think that realizing the benefits that you can have through minimalism and just slowly chipping away at it, you can start to see these benefits that I'm talking about. And it's not hopeless. I am somebody who really struggled with having too much. And not because I was wealthy or something. I mean, I was in grad school making like $25,000 a year, living in a big city at the time in Philadelphia, and I was dealing with too much stuff. That's one example. My point is that anyone can start to deal with this as a problem, and I feel like starting to declutter and making those changes can be deeply impactful in a lot of different ways. Anyway, I really just got chatting there, didn't I? Hopefully that was helpful on some level to destigmatize having too much, to realize a lot of people are dealing with this, but also to empower you to say, maybe you can make changes. Because if Aylin did, then maybe I can. Anyway, thank you so much for spending this little bit of time with me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.